broadcasted, right?
Yeah, do you want me to go YouTube live? No,
We're not gonna do that tonight.
Well, she can broadcast it later. She
Okay.
can post it and put it
Oh,
on.
I got you.
We're just recording it right now.
okay, so you're okay with me logging in, grabbing it and bringing it over later tonight?
Yes.
All right. Recording.
At least this chair isn't killing me tonight.
No, that's good.
That's a progress.
Holy cow, John. He's gone through the roof.
Yeah, there is no hay.
Like round bills are spoken or gone. Square bills are like, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's what nuts.
You already have our fire chief asking. Matt just hit me up. Is there a meeting? Is it being broadcasted? How
Yeah,
come?
I've had 5 as well as days.
Yeah, it's gonna be broadcast.
Yeah, that's what I just told him later.
He's technically in quarantine right now because of the COVID situation.
Right.
there.
As is Alfred Boyce.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all set. John.
Okay,
You wanna go?
I move that we waive the automatic,
Yeah, we did. No, we're okay. Go ahead.
I move that we waive the automatic foreclosure tax lien on lot 02, map 37, account number 2802.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
Rusty, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, it's 4
Was
with
it?
1 abstention.
Yeah.
Lori, Dave abstained. Okay,
I also move we waive the automatic foreclosure on lot 02, map 58-1Z, account number 2665.
Tom seconds it. All those in favor? It's unanimous.
I move that we waive the automatic foreclosure on lot 32, map 036, account number 2206.
Tom seconds it. All those in favor? It's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was good. Okay. Public input, for anyone that has some input, they can have up to 5 glorious minutes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us who you are?
I'm Carol Baker Rube.
Yeah, we spoke.
I live on Damask Road, and I spoke with Mr. Tibbetts last week, and he suggested that I come this evening. So I'm here to request that the selectmen and the fire commission consider implementing a subscription plan for the rescue service, like what you see in the towns of Alfred, Waterboro, and Standish. And the reason I'm asking, I don't know if you've had to use the ambulance. I hope you have not. But recently we did. And the bill for that was over $1,000 with insurance. And I'm thinking that perhaps that as a taxpayer in town, someone who's been supporting the rescue and ambulance service for a long time, we've lived here since 1998, that there should be some way to recognize that you live here and already contribute to the service, should you then have to use it. So I used to live in Alfred before moving here. I moved here in 98 and they've had a plan since I lived there. So it obviously is cost efficient and it works. The Alfred rates for such a plan, if you live in Alfred, you would pay, if you choose, $25 for a household or $100 for a business. In Waterboro, it's a little bit different. They charge $35 for an individual, $55 for a 2-person family, and if there are 3 or more people in your family, it's $65. And what happens when you have a plan like this is you choose to take that plan for a year. So you buy the subscription. And then should you have to use the ambulance service in your town, just in your town, then you agree to bill your insurance, and whatever insurance doesn't cover, you do not pay, because you've already paid for this membership. The day that we got our ambulance bill, I happened to be watching the news, and it said 39% of the people in this country cannot afford an emergency bill of $1,000 or more. Now, I don't know how that translates to the town of Lyman, but I'm guessing a lot of people now have high deductible plans like we do. And to get one ambulance bill or maybe two, that'd be pretty overwhelming. And I would think having supported that service through taxes, there should be some recognition of that, and perhaps a subscription plan would be the way to go. Maybe they would prefer to do a reduced rate. It just seems strange that if I live here and use it, I pay the same as somebody who maybe was driving through from Bedford. My other concern with having such a high rate is that if you might get a bill like this, and then the next time you need the ambulance, you might go, I don't know, maybe I'll just try driving myself over there. In the case of why we needed it, that was not an option. It was definitely an ambulance, but I could see someone in town on a very limited income. I might be having a heart attack, but I might just drive myself over there. And I don't think any of us want to see that. I think if we could put in a subscription plan, it obviously works in these towns or they wouldn't keep doing it. And I always hate to tell somebody they should do a job and not offer to help. So, should you want to go forward and you need someone to speak to the fire commission about it, or, do more research, I'd be happy to help out with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yes, Tom.
I've already talked with Chief Matt, and more just to get it written down and get it on the agenda for the next fire commission meeting. We're gonna do some research with Alfred. We've got Pradine guys and Alfred and Sanford. And we've never seriously looked at anything like that before. And don't know what the numbers, don't know anything about it, but we are gonna look at it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for doing that. That's very important. We like it when people bring it and do that. Thank you.
I've had that circumstance where I had a child taken from the sports zone in Saco to Biddeford, 10 miles, $1,000+
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we're driving. I've had that. You had to make that decision. It's pretty crazy.
So you're gonna discuss that with,
Yeah, I've already talked with Matt. We got it on the agenda. Okay, I got one. All right, I can do one.
go ahead.
All right. Lyman Planning Board recently agreed to a road maintenance agreement in lieu of placing a condition on a permit that was supposed to lessen the impact of a proposed business that must use private roads in Lyman for access. The agreement, which was proposed by the applicant and accepted by the planning board, was conditioned by a requirement that the people on the road form an official road association. This was accepted despite there being no input from the people that currently pay for the plowing and maintenance of the roads involved. Currently, the road is maintained by two separate voluntary informal groups, which contribute on an as-needed basis to assure they have access to their homes. If the people that live on these roads do not enter into the type of agreement dictated by the applicant, there will be no monetary contribution by the applicant. The bottom line is that approximately 60 property owners will be forced to give up their existing arrangement that has worked for them for a number of years for the sake of one business. In addition, the applicant's current and future impacts on the roads was not considered by the planning board. He's built a couple homes that require access on Wadley Pond Road and a large storage building on Chapel Shores Road. There's access many times a day to move equipment on these roads to facilitate building and maintenance of his projects. The problem resulting from this decision are due to the cumulative effect of many years of the planning board neglecting this issue. We have many private roads in this town. I feel the townspeople need ordinances, governing businesses on private roads, as well as better decisions from the board in the future. That's just my opinion and nobody else's.
Okay, anybody else? No? Okay, so we're gonna go on to mail. So we have some decisions from the planning board that are in the mail, if you guys want to read them. Or if you want to, just so you're aware of it.
Do you have a summary of the mail, Bill?
Well, I do have. We also have
Have we got one?
mail from the DOT project manager, Lorraine Hamilton, regarding a highway preservation project on Route 202 in Lyman and Alfred. We have a letter from Amos Gay, Goodman's Mills Cemetery Association. We have a letter from Senator King for the town report, Congressman Pingree for the annual town report. And then we have DOT project manager Ernest Martin, another public meeting on the Route 202 proposed highway reconstruction on Lyman to Gorham. So apparently it's in two pieces. Yep. So if you want any of that mail, I have it here. You're welcome to read through it. Yep. All right, we're going on to complaints. Now we have to start with the first one and get Brad for some input here from Steve Austin on Shore Road regarding to a clog culvert with driveway damage. Brad, it's all yours.
So the base of the story was that he was complaining that there was excessive road water coming down on Shore Road, coming around the corner, crossing the road, washing into the neighbor's yard, and flooding his, going down into the lake. I went down last week and found the culvert that was plugged, which had 2.5 feet of fill material over the top of it. So it's been plugged for a while. I opened that up. I also found the outlet pipe, opened that up, and went down there Saturday during that torrential rain, and water has made its way through that culvert. It's probably better than 3/4 of that water now that does not go to his yard. It goes down through the culvert and down through the right of way. The bulk of the water that comes to his property now that I've seen comes off of their private road at the end of our road. Comes down their private road, crosses right in front of his driveway and right into his yard, which really is nothing to us, and we can't really do anything about it. There's no place to drain that. Because the culvert that he's talking about is uphill from that low area. That happens to be the lowest spot. So at present, it's working. The ditch needs to be redone this summer for sure. All the old material needs to come out of there. And a culvert needs to be installed at house number 110 that has a paved apron that never had a culvert installed. That would stop probably 80% of the water from going out into the road and would stay in the ditch line. That's basically a brief summary of it. Any questions? Yes.
Yes, those are all on our roads, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It changes there. It was just important to clarify that, right?
What was your question?
That was the town road portion of that. Because right there by Steve Austin's, it changes. It goes from town road to private road.
Right.
I just wanted to clarify that was
The
all.
water
on
coming
town.
down the town road
Yes,
is now mostly going to the culvert.
yes,
The rest of the water that's going onto his property is coming from the private road.
right.
Okay. Did you want to say something about the mulch that got dumped in there right away?
There is a house that is presently remodeled that had numerous trees cut. And all the chips were blown into the right of way from all the chippings.
Burying the culvert.
So the culvert was buried in chips and the right of way is buried in chips. So I shoveled that open Saturday and those chips are the full length of the right of way. At some point, they're gonna end up in the lake. They shouldn't be there.
Right.
So my thought process was to talk to Patty and see if she can go back and find out how those chips got there through that construction job and see if we can identify who needs to remove them.
Yep.
Yeah, because it should be that contractor, correct?
Yeah, well, I think she said they took down 14 trees.
So it was a tree guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they chipped it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll be a big undertaking, because it's not anything you're gonna do with a wheelbarrow.
no,
There's a lot of shifts in there, a lot.
I'd go back with
okay. Okay, the second complaint is from Keywood Manor in regardings to the entrance that's on Pools Crossing Road headed towards Kennybunk. There's one at the end of Camelwood, the first entrance.
Yeah,
And then if you go down to the curve, there's a second entrance.
Yeah.
It's like a back entrance into there. That's where they've had a couple of accidents recently. So Jody Pendergast, the manager of the park, has requested that we look at that and see what we can do. And possibly put some more streetlights up. And
Jeez, I thought there was really good visibility there. Or am I looking at?
well, the problem is this people going too fast.
The last
People are speeding.
accident was off of Candlewood.
It was off of that second entrance on the curve.
Candlewood.
Well, Candlewood goes in, it loops around.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Huh.
So,
No issue.
I mean, if they want street lights and they're willing to pay for them, I don't have an issue with that. But as far as doing anything with that entrance, I would have assumed that that went through planning board approval.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Okay, I'm not sure what the process would be at this point.
I don't know if there's any brush sticking,
No.
everything over there, I remember being real.
That's all cut clear.
It's
It's-
pretty
it's
clear.
wide open.
Yeah, because
clear
we
through
use
there.
that
Seems
to
like
go down.
speed is the issue.
Speed's the
Yeah.
issue,
It's
yeah.
the
Yeah,
speed.
because we
Maybe
cut through
the
there going
signage.
out for a while.
Yeah.
we may
We're
wanna
always through there.
Definitely do more signage, but I think it's pretty decent through there.
Yeah,
It's pretty hard to control the speed.
I know, and
I mean,
not gonna.
you. I guess, I mean, if they want to.
they should go out the
They're on
Candlewood
call for the
entrance,
weekend.
not that one.
That's it.
right.
That's on a long.
Yeah, I'm sure, right.
Okay. The third issue we have is from a Rod Ott on Hill Road requesting signage. His request is for the section where there's a curve to the left coming from Arundel. I believe that's Arundel.
It is.
And they want curve signs because people go too fast.
That is Arundel.
I can't even.
That's all Arundel there.
Yeah.
That's all Arundel.
So should we pass that on to them?
No, just say, please contact Arundel. It is now.
That
I mean, whatever you want to do, Bill, it's up to you, but.
is Arundel.
Yeah, for sure.
The fourth complaint we have is from Cheryl Pomelo, Keywood Manor. It's about that same intersection. Requesting for lighting and flashing sharp corner sign or a road redesign eliminating the curve.
Oh my.
Nope.
There's no major inconvenience just going out the other exit.
Correct.
That's it. They got an alternate.
Well, that was closed, that entrance was closed for years. And I would say in the last year and a half, they
They
opened
opened
that up
that up.
when they've expanded their lots down
Oh,
there.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Are these accidents happening during the day or at night?
Keywood.
3:30 in the afternoon was,
So lights aren't gonna make any
the
difference.
lights weren't the issue to that
Lights are not. gonna
crash,
make
that
any
they had
difference.
to call in the jaws of life from another town was in daylight.
Speed is speed, they can't do anything, you do what you do when you live in a hard spot like that. I live in a very difficult driveway to get in. I turn my blinker on way in advance, I slow the right down, especially if I see something coming downhill.
Sure.
There's due diligence on both sides, you can't control the other crazies on the road. But if you know there's something, like if you know it's unsafe to turn left out of there at a certain time of day, go the long way around.
Right.
3:30 is prime traffic.
That's
It's when
what
the
I,
buses are coming and there's like people trying to get their kids and they're zooming around. There's there's prime times you just don't go a certain way sometimes.
I mean, I do that every day. I leave Howard Road, comes to 111. I don't go towards Bitterford. I take a right
Mhm.
and hit Walker Road and take a longer route to work.
Yep.
I just leave early. I know I ain't getting across there.
No,
Not
So-
easily.
Not in the morning. You're not getting across there to Bitterford.
Nope, you're not.
So, and that accident happened, where they called it another town, was at 3:38.
Yeah, like,
Don't quote me, in the
Well-
afternoon.
and I think you have to have, and it's sad to say this, but I think you have to have so many deaths before they even consider redesigning a road.
That's
It's
it.
state law. It has to be pretty high, I think it's over 5. And then you get put on radar. And then after so many more deaths, you might get onto a coordinator.
Look at a difficult corner, look where 35.
35, how
On
many
the
years?
Walker Road. And I mean, that's,
Apple Cart corner, that,
yeah, that's been
It's a
difficult,
nightmare.
and it hasn't even been on the blip on the radar.
No.
they don't even prune trees, so you can head to one.
So the first one from the management at the park, Keywood Park, was requested for lighting and additional signage. And so looks like they want to see what we're willing to do.
Do you, when we go for a ride, you want to?
We'll take a
Yeah,
look
we'll
at
ride
that.
over there too.
Perfect.
That's what I wanted.
We'll make sure it's dusk.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna go where it's dark and see.
yeah.
Okay, we've got a bunch of minutes to approve here.
Yeah.
So if we could get a motion to accept the minutes of the special meeting.
So,
Do I have a second on that? Tom seconds it. Is there any discussion on those minutes? That's when we set the mill rate for the tax.
oh, you know what? Wait a minute, I can't do that one. I was being cut open the 21st. So I gotta take my motion back, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Somebody else.
I'll
gonna
make a
go.
motion.
Tom makes the motion.
I'll second.
Rusty seconds
This
it.
one, we're talking the October 13th meeting.
Yeah.
And it says you were here, John.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was,
you were
I
here.
thought we were down on the 21st.
No, it says everybody was here.
13th.
All right, what
Everybody was
meetings
there.
can I make a motion on?
We'll work on one by one. You're good with this one.
All
You're
right,
good with this
thank
one.
you.
Your motion stands.
I couldn't even be bad if I
All
wanted
right.
to.
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion? No discussion. All those in favor? It's
All right.
unanimous.
This
Mo-
age motion requires effort.
A motion to accept the minutes of the regular meeting dated October 19th, 2020.
Yeah, I was there.
Tom abstains.
I was absent.
Okay,
So
so
moved.
John moves,
Rusty
Rusty seconds it. Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor? It's unanimous 4 with 1 abstention. Meeting for November 2nd, the regular meeting.
So moved.
John
Yeah, I was there.
makes a motion to accept those minutes. Do we have a second? Rusty seconds it. Is there any discussion on those minutes? All those in favor of approving? It's unanimous. All right. We're on the 16th, correct? November 16th meeting?
Yep.
November 16th.
So make a motion, make example. You two were absent.
We were both gone.
That was my birthday.
Okay, so Rusty makes a motion. We need a second.
Was
Dave?
I there?
I'll second.
Thank
Dave
you.
seconds it. Is there any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor?
I can't.
There we
vote.
go.
So it's 3-0 with 2 abstentions because they weren't here. All right, now we go to the January 4th meeting.
I wasn't at that one either.
2021.
No, I didn't make that one.
Tom makes a motion to accept the minutes of January 4th, 2021. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Rusty seconds that. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I had one question on that, Bill. I had asked a question about the $31,950 for plowing. And I wanted to know if it was paying forward for those services. Has anybody found that out at all?
You know, I think that came up in a discussion and I can't remember the answer. Basically, what that is on that is they take that for the year, Dave,
Yeah,
and it's just divided basically by 12 payments, give or take a couple incidentals. So it's for that time period. So
gotcha.
it's really not for the current month. It's a payment towards the overall for the year.
Installment plan,
Yes.
yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if there's no more discussion, all those in favor? It is unanimous, 5-0. Now we're to January.
It was 4-0. John wasn't here.
Okay, I'm sorry, it was 4-0. John was not here. So January 15th, we had an emergency meeting here at the town hall. So I need a motion on that. That would have been,
Were there just three of us?
there was three of us, Dave
Yeah, I
Alves,
can
John,
move.
and myself.
I can make the motion.
Yeah.
Dave's got a second.
Okay, so John made the motion to accept that.
I'll
Dave,
second.
I hear- Okay, here a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? 3, 2 abstentions. Rusty and Tom, yes. Okay. Move on to payroll warrants. Payroll warrant number 30 in the amount of $14,350.48.
I make a motion, we accept payroll warrant.
Number 30.
I'll second that. Bill.
Tom seconds that. Is there any discussion on payroll warrant number 30? There's no discussion, so all those in favor? It's unanimous, 5-0. And payable warrant number 31 in the amount of $70,562.44.
Too easy to say. I'll make a motion to accept that one.
Tom makes a motion to accept that. John seconds that. Is there any discussion on that payable warrant? No discussion. All those in favor? That's unanimous also. Okay. Unfinished business on the town hall expansion. I don't believe we have more than one person on a committee yet. So we need to do something proactive to get that increased by a couple people. So if anybody watching would like to volunteer, please do. Go on to the Charter Commission status update. The emergency meeting was to cancel the vote on the Charter Commission because of the timing with the requirements when that could be voted on once the Charter Commission came back with their full plan and it was complete. We would have had to have the vote in June where we would not get enough people to have it be a valid vote, so it was canceled. So June 8th, I believe, is the date that Polly told me would be the date in June to have that vote. And we would, that would be a town vote for the selectman election, the Charter Commission, and getting ready for the town meeting.
So moved.
So John Tibbetts makes a motion to have the vote on June 8th,
I'll second that.
and Tom seconds that. Is there any discussion before we vote on that? No discussion. All those in favor? It's 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, Dave, anything on the disaster debris management?
Yeah, I spoke with Eric from the state and let him know that we were going through the process of checking town properties. He said we had plenty of time. But we would get back to him as soon as we identified a piece of property or a couple of pieces of property.
Did you get that list from Sue?
Are you asking me, Bill?
Yes, Dave, did you get the list of properties from Sue?
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay, John?
Is there any, does that have to be an impermeable service? I mean, do you have to get in there with trucks? Does there have to be no vegetation? I mean, is that-
It has to be able to accommodate large trucks, preferably obviously owned by the town, so it's not a leased piece of property. Wires overhead, need to be made sure that a dump could actually dump debris in there. It does not have to be impervious. It can be any site as long as you can get around it, you can get machines on it, you can separate. So it has to be a fairly large clearing.
So, all right, well, that probably answers, could we have a hot load zone up at the transfer station that's for the purpose, if we have a fire in one of the containers, that we can take it up there and dump it? So we're assuming it would have to be a bigger area than that, Dave?
I believe so, yeah, because that would, that would probably stunt whoever's working there if we put it on at a dump site.
All right. Maybe we should find how the capacity we've got to have.
They also obviously said to, make sure you look at your wetlands and, any DEP issues that may arise from any runoff from whatever debris is dumped.
In town that might really lend itself to that one, places. There's the pit on Davis Road that would be, I mean, it's a gravel pit. They're reclaiming it, or not reclaiming it, but, working around it. That might be your first choice because you got no vegetation, you got gravel, you got a lot of potential room. I think that'd be your first choice. Another piece of land, a town you have, excuse me, is on it's Old North Berwick Road. What's the road that the cement place is on?
Old Kenny Road.
Old Kennybunk Road off Old North Berwick. And the reason for that is you go down there, it's a piece that we've selectively cut, but it's tabletop and it's sand. We'd have to do some work there. I mean, I would think the Davis Road pit would be an easy choice.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it
like
wouldn't
it's
take a
lot of
lot
acres.
to make room there.
No,
And you're on gravel and you got no vegetation.
no wires,
No
no
wires.
wetlands, no
Yeah.
nothing.
So would we get DEP to look at that? What's the next step?
Dave's been running with this.
Yeah, well, let him run with it, but I'm just, that's just a piece of land he could run with.
Did you hear the question, Dave?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the property, but
What's the next step? Do we need DEP approval? We just say, no, this is.
we'd submit it, we would submit it to Eric, who's heading that program. And it would go basically into our office around, and they would check on it and they would get back to us.
Okay, so you said it wasn't a big rush.
It's not, it's not like we're gonna lose our place in line. It's just, if you have a disaster, you won't have access to the funds that may be available without.
Well, I'm thinking here, if we did it the next 2 months, we'd be fine.
Yes.
Okay,
We're kind of,
does that sound reasonable, John?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just trying to catch myself up here.
See, I thought about the Davis Road too, and
Yeah.
then I looked at the one by his song there.
Yeah, both
With
of them.
Brad the other day, yeah.
it just thinking out loud. I know we talked about getting a list to get rid of properties, get it off the tax base. So whatever we choose is something we're keeping, something that we're deciding to keep.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to think about resale value. Who would want that if we
Right.
decide to choose that place?
Well, that property.
Well, that's, it's not something that stays there. It's something that gets cleaned up.
Aging area.
Right, but so what they're saying, let's phone the staging area in case you ever need it.
Well, in that Davis property right now, we've got, what? Couple 300 yards of regrind out, asphalt that needs to be reground. We've got some miscellaneous fill.
So we're hanging on to this.
So we're
place.
hanging
It's
on to
something we're
that.
giving
It's
up.
what it is. It's an old gravel pit. It's really,
That was my only thought.
yeah.
It's a big parcel anyway, Rusty, so even if they wanted to keep 5 or 6 acres and
Yeah,
So it's-
subdivide and sell off the rest of it, there's
yeah.
plenty.
There's
It's
opportunity to
giant.
work there.
It looks like it's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
Okay,
The good candidates.
thank you, Dave. On the department and committee reports, I do have a report.
Can I stop you right there? I mean, what's not, I don't know if I'm out of line here, but do you want to have any follow-up on KRT on unfinished business?
Yeah. We can put that in, let's, sure, let's do it right now. Go ahead. Want to fill us in?
Okay, so I spent some time on the phone with Ken, and I asked him a series of questions, and he gave me a series of answers. I apologize, I was gonna send them today, but as us being down, you guys don't have a copy. If you want, I can read them to you, and then you can pose any follow-up question that you might have. Is that acceptable?
That sound good, you guys? Yep, right ahead, Dave.
Okay, so the first question was, the contract called for all properties to be physically inspected and measured. Was this completed, and if not, why? The answer was yes, with the following exceptions. Some properties refused entry. Some properties had children under 18 that were all alone. Some properties had no trespassing signs. For these reasons, certain properties were unable to be physically inspected and measured. So I followed up with a question, can you identify those properties and give the reason for each? He said, yes, we will go through the property cards and identify those his history codes and provide a spreadsheet, which he has started. Is there any questions or a follow-up question to question?
That's good. I like it.
I'll go to number 2. My question was, what was the documented outcome of all properties with a plus or minus 10% assessment that was reviewed? His answer was, this was not a contractual obligation. It was a verbal professional courtesy. I did review those properties and made adjustments that were warranted accordingly. I followed up with, can you give us documentation review to each identified property that had a plus or minus 10% movement? The answer was, I can give you a spreadsheet with most, but potentially not all because of your CAMA system being antiquated and the lack of a good parcel audit report. It will only be for improved properties with buildings on it. Now that CAMA system is the Trio. Is there any follow-up question on number 2?
Do you have that spreadsheet yet?
He sent a portion. It's in the computer. I can't get it to you. But he did send a portion. It's only about 30% complete, but they are working on it. Number 3, the documentation that some homeowners provided to KRT. Where is it, and why was there no documentation for the, if any, changes provided to the homeowners? The answer was, the information that was provided to KRT is at the office. We did not provide the documentation to the homeowners for the change because that is not standard operating procedure, and it is not within our contractual obligation. I followed up with, can and will you identify these properties and provide a reason for backup or backup for any such change. He said, yes, we can produce the property record cards before and after the hearings. Number 4, can you provide the comparative market documentation that was used to arrive at the new assessment, but was not provided to the homeowners? The answer, this information is on our website that they can access still. The information, while not specific to each individual property, was the basis for the reevaluation. There is a revaluation manual that outlines the revaluation process, methodology, and sale data used on the project. This is available at the assessor's office for public inspection. Number 5, question, what is being done with the properties that were contested and what are the results? Answer, properties that were contested were scheduled for a hearing. I personally reviewed each hearing sheet and any documentation that was provided by the taxpayer. Once I finished with the review, a first-class letter was sent to all properties that came in for the hearing, regardless of outcome, and any properties that changed in value. As far as KRT is aware, all have been addressed. I followed up with a question. If there is anyone else who might be still looking to contest, will you set time to meet with them? Will you consider this part of the contract and not billable time? The answer was yes, but with a time constraint not to exceed 5 days. Please keep in mind that KRT already provided an additional 10 days of walk-in hearings and review at no additional cost to the town. Number 6, KRT has been asked not to do any abatements until the work provided in the contract was accepted. Why are they still being done? Answer, the abatements that have been addressed are from the prior values that were used. These values were not produced or provided by KRT. KRT has not done any abatement on any property using our valuation as agreed upon with the select board. Now, I received some information from the treasurer, and it was basically of abatements. So I forwarded it to KRT. So he responded, if I can find it. Okay, so I sent in what I received from Jeanette. What information was used for these abatements? And did it go against the agreement that KRT and the select board had? Sorry, I'm reading small. Not to process any abatements until the reevaluation was 100% complete. The answer, the values that were committed for year 21 were established in 2020 by someone other than KRT Appraisal. By state statute, taxpayers are given the right to contest their assessment through the abatement process. Assessors are then obligated to review the abatement and render a decision. The decisions made by KRT Appraisal were based solely on the market valuation as of April 1st, 2020, and whether or not there was market data to support that valuation. In some cases, the data that the valuation was based on, I'm sorry, I lost that. Sorry, give me a second to pull that back up. Okay, as of April 2020, and whether or not there was a market data to support that valuation. In some cases, the data that the valuation was based on previously was inaccurate and when corrected, resulted in a reduction of value. Those taxpayers were then granted an abatement. Again, none of these abatements were granted on KRT's valuations. However, KRT's valuations may closely reflect the market valuation as of April 1st, 2020. I would never agree not to process abatements, as it would not only be unethical, but possibly unlawful. In a typical revaluation, 1/3 of the properties go up, 1/3 stay roughly the same, and 1/3 goes down. When KRT appraisals sent out impact notices, after the selectmen decided to go with the old values, it brought to light some of the properties that were going down. That was his follow-up to the information that I sent him from the treasurer. I had a 7th question, and that is the bills that were submitted but not paid for additional work. Can we get detailed itemization of each billable hour on those bills? His answer was yes. We will provide a detailed itemization on all assessing invoices. That is all I have for now. But it seemed, he seemed very willing to move forward with the process, button things up so that we can move on.
Did he give any idea when he'd have those spreadsheets completed?
I think he'll need another week.
It's forward motion, it's better than nothing at this point.
Working with us anyway.
Yeah. Keep prodding them, Dave, it's the way to go. You're asking the right questions.
It was, you know, it was a good conversation. It really was.
Good, it's good to know that. Seem like they want to work with us to get it over with.
Yeah, they do.
Good, good.
I really haven't said anything. I'm not sure I wanted to right now. I appreciate what we've got for feedback, but I think it contradicts what's in our contract.
So, yeah, I agree, some of it does. And I mean, Dave's doing a great job. He's got good questions. They've been rope-a-doping us from the start. And I mean, all of us, we said, geez, you know, they're working with us now. And I hope we're right. I want to be cautiously optimistic, but,
You know,
Well, you know, another week,
another week. or
I
two.
guess I can live with, Dave,
Yeah, me too.
but I definitely don't want to see it go any further than that.
I don't think, I think they were all over it. And, you know, Ken was confident that, you know, he can get it done, and, you know, he can put in those 5 days for anybody that, you know, still may have an issue. And, you know, we can come out of this, what seemed to be a bad situation, as good as we can, as good as we can.
lesson learned.
Okay, well, thank you, Dave. We ready to go on?
Sure.
All right,
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Are
I'm
those
sorry.
of us still waiting for a letter from them?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
There's some of us still waiting for a letter from them.
I'm sure that will be addressed after the spreadsheet comes back. which should be within a week, like I said. And then we'll be able to see any open issues and then be able to follow up with it.
If I was watching, I would have taken yours first.
Yeah.
I
he
think
went- yeah.
part of the crime, because squeaky wheels get the grease.
Well, she told me I'd have it a month after she did a walkthrough of my house in December. After they went up on me, after they fixed my sister-in-law's property. They went and turned around and raised mine after the fact. And then when I contested that, she did the walkthrough, said I'd get a letter in a month, and it's been well over that. And I have nothing. And I mentioned to her, I'm in the middle of refinancing, I need that for my escrow. Nothing. And I called and left messages and emailed.
If you're watching squeaky wheel.
Well, if they really care, so they great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move over to department and committee reports. Planning board. I have a short report from the planning board. I'll read it if you'd like to hear it. The board held 4 meetings, 3 public hearings, and 3 site walks during this reporting period. This is November, December of 2020. The board reviewed and approved the application of Keith 70 for a medical marijuana grow and retail facility at 1413 Alfred Road. The board reviewed and approved the application of David Alves for a medical marijuana grow facility on Revere Way. And the board reviewed and approved the application of HA Mapes to install a commercial fueling station and reconfigure the entrances on Route 111 and 35. We have a regular code enforcement report that I think you all have. We have a tax collector report. And that's where we're at on the reports. Everybody okay with those? Okay. New business. We have an estimate here. We talked about with our Wi-Fi network internally here that it was not secure at all and that we should do something to fix that so that people don't get unauthorized access to places they don't belong. I have an estimate here to do that. And I'm just going to give you the total amount because the pieces aren't going to make any difference to you. 25, it's a maximum of $2,540. That can come out of the computer reserve account. There's funds there to cover that. And I'm asking if there's a motion to go ahead and do this.
Yeah, so
John makes a motion to accept the proposal. Do we have a second? Tom seconds that.
we've had issues with that for a while, correct?
Well, we have, and we found some issues that we need to resolve right
Yeah, that's
away.
what I thought.
This is just the resolve right away to make everything safe for us.
I'm
The
just
rest
trying,
of the stuff will come up.
I struggle to follow this end of it, okay?
Understand.
Okay.
No smoke signals.
No, not even a sharp friggin' pencil.
Did you second that, Rusty?
I didn't, but I will.
Okay, so Rusty seconds that. Is there any questions before we go to a vote here? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, 5-0, it's unanimous. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go down to number C. The B, I think we're just gonna skip over for right now. We took care of what we needed. Number C is the RFP banking services that we opened the bids last meeting. And Jeanette's been really busy and hasn't really had a chance to look at it yet. We had another bid come in after the deadline. And based on the stamps from the postal service, it was sent overnight. We should have had it in plenty of time. We didn't get it. It was an issue with the postal service. I wanted to ask you guys what you wanted. Nothing's been opened, so
None of them have been
No.
opened anyway.
they're open, but nobody's even looked at them. They're still, nothing's been given out for information, so it's all closed.
Dave, is this discussion?
Yeah, this is just, well.
Dave, how do you feel about this? Dave, how do you feel about this?
You say Dave?
Well, if someone has to put in a bid by a certain timeline, how do you feel that this isn't in by that timeline?
How many bids came in?
I think we had three or four.
Three.
So 3 came in,
Yes.
so
And-
you're waiting on one. As long as,
This was delayed, this last one that came in. Based on the postmarks from the postal service, it should have been here. It was shipped overnight. We should have had it in plenty of time. We
did
didn't
you
get-
already open the other ones?
The other ones are open. Nothing has been released.
I'd ask that you get a quick attorney opinion on that, man.
No, it's not their fault. That's the
Yeah,
post
it's
office.
not their
And
fault.
I'd agree
It's
with
not
you.
my fault. There's a traffic accident on my way to turn in a bid.
Right,
I'm still
Not
screwed.
only that, if we hadn't opened the other ones, I could lean a little more, but I would really ask for the attorney's opinion on this.
Okay,
I've been turned down by being a minute late walking through the door.
Yeah.
for bid.
No, so have I.
$7 million bid.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, see ya.
I just got a piece of mail from the IRS from November yesterday.
Yeah, and
That's how bad it is.
US mail.
Look at the back of that envelope.
I got stuff from
That's
Social
been
Security
North Dakota.
for a year ago, today. Came in today.
She's been hauling around.
So,
Been on the Oregon Trail.
so Dave, so the discussion is, see what the town attorney says. If he says it should be allowed, are you okay with that? Or if he
Yes.
says No.
I-
then we
Yes.
should- no.
Yes.
I will do that if you guys are ready.
Okay
Yeah,
with that.
do you want a motion? and a-
Yeah, please.
I move, we ask the town's attorney's opinion on that late bid and go with his recommendation.
I'll do the second.
Tom seconds that. Any more discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Okay. We have another request here. This came from Patty. And this has got to do with there's an appeal of the planning board decision. And the planning board chairman would like to have the town attorney attend to represent them. So the question is, are we going to authorize the town attorney to represent the planning board in the appeal?
That's pretty much standard. So
Okay, so you making a motion
Yeah, I
to
am.
approve that?
Yeah.
Do I have a second on that motion? Rusty seconds that. Discussion from anybody? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, it's 4-1 abstention. Dave. Okay, we have one other thing here.
we've got your field use request forms. Is that what you're looking for?
I got it right here.
Perfect.
For the field, Bungin Up Ball Field, MU Soccer Club is asking to use the field various times in August, September, and October. This came through, I believe it was Sarah. Sarah's the one that made the request.
So,
Hertz?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Sarah for a while. Very well.
Is there, so I'm looking to you, the board, what their, all these approvals are supposed to go through the board,
Yeah,
so.
I guess, we've talked about some pay structure with that, some getting some help with that. And I've been here, there, and everywhere lately, so I don't know what you guys have worked in that way towards that yet. And I don't even, I know some of these sporting organizations, for lack of a better word, are a lot better heeled than other ones. And by the same thing, I think there's a chance for a kid to play and go and do, I want him to do it. But I don't want the taxpayers to bear all of it. So if you can figure out something intelligent from that gobbledygook.
Well, what if we give it a tentative approval and say to them, we need to come to an agreement on your contribution?
Yeah, I'm great with that.
And
I think that what we should do is have a meeting with each buddy that uses the facility,
Yeah,
sit down and hash out something.
yeah. Would that be a workshop situation or could we do it at the beginning of the meeting or how, I mean, I don't care how we do it. But that's, yeah, look, we used to do that. We used to bring everybody in.
Yeah, well, to go along with this, it's not on the agenda, but the Massabesic Little League has called me several times and we've discussed.
Yeah,
And they're looking and they're asking about Buckingham Field for Little League. And so the biggest question they had, first of all, they said, tell them what we want, they will do it. So whatever we want to work out, they're happy to do.
Okay.
And this goes to Dave too, I know in your area, not to get too far into this, but because they're not sure of the status of Bernier Field for the year. But they just wanted to know if we could get the sod down in time for the spring, if they were going to use Buckingham Field. And then they wanted to know who would be paying for the sod. And I said, I'd bring it up to the meeting and discuss it here. That was one of the things that we had planned to do in the long term, was to put the sod down. We're probably talking less than $2,000.
and Winding Brook has treated us very
So
well.
they've been really good.
Oh, because you gotta sod the inside of that.
We got
field.
inside the inside of it. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was really the only thing that we had left that we really needed to do on that field.
And I think that would be a moot point. If these other organizations are gonna contribute, to me right now, given the situation in town, I think a lot of taxpayers would raise their eyebrows if we said, oh, we're gonna buy $2,000 worth of salt. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, I just think that's, but I think we've invested in these fields, we've taken really good care of them, we're attracting some people. Well, all right, help us, we're providing a superior product here. Help us continue with that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have a
Michelle?
committee? Do you have a committee? Or-
We use the Parks and Rec Committee along with the Little League and then get somebody from soccer to join it. And then I like to include the Y because they're
Well, that's what I was thinking.
facilitating a lot there.
And I keep forgetting to tell you, because on your Kennybunk Pond Committee, Matt would be interested in being on that too, just to help if you want him.
Oh, I absolutely would. And
Yeah.
I was looking to touch base with that committee today, but
Yeah.
unfortunately circumstances
Dave
wouldn't
wasn't
allow
long
it.
enough.
So,
I was just wondering if those committees, it'd be great if you had someone kind of headed it. And that way everyone could figure out who contributes what, and that would really be.
yeah, I agree. I mean, just in that discussion, we were talking about how to get drinkable water over there.
Yeah. Well, we got potable water, right?
We do on the beach side, we need to get it across.
Yeah.
So I need to talk to Brad to see what we
Yeah.
can do for Magic to get it across the road.
Sets up schedules for everything.
Usually it's been going through Sarah Tibbetts.
Yeah, I didn't know she was still.
So, I mean, because like I say, Rusty, I know you're
Who's Sarah
real big
Tibbetts?
into soccer.
She is, she's with soccer.
Sarah Willett?
Sarah Willett.
Oh, geez,
Yeah.
okay, all right. It's freaking me
I'm
out.
sorry, I
Oh,
That's
got
all right, yeah.
get the wrong name.
So,
Close.
I mean, she
It's usually put-
coordinates.
Yeah, the schedule is
So
somebody,
everybody's,
some business,
like, I mean, I know you're big into soccer.
there's a
We ain't
spreadsheet.
gonna have that somewhere that's field times or,
So maybe we can set something up here in the next couple weeks to get Little League and soccer together and have.
I think it's
have it
just a matter of
scheduled.
asking.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of asking.
So
Coming up with a
one of,
number,
just so you know,
that's it.
one of the things that these teams have run into is that some of the towns are saying, we're gonna be shut down for this year again.
Yeah.
And others have said, we're putting no money in, but you gotta pay us. And, you know, some of these places have been let go and are just destroyed.
Right.
And they're saying, we need to go somewhere where the kids can safely play. So. Okay.
So
I'll
that,
go to new business.
I don't want
Yeah.
to jump away from this. too
Go
quick.
ahead.
There's two separate ones here, and one's for August, but one's for April. And it'll have to be jumped on
Yes, you're right.
sooner than later. And the only questions were on this were, will it overlap with the league if they're there?
Well, even if soccer is there should be enough room for the
Plenty.
Little League to play.
One in, one in.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that's a real issue.
Okay, that was the concern.
Yeah,
You should be getting a sod stick for, how soon you got Little League?
well, it's gonna be coming up in March, but when we did, last time we did sod on a field, we laid the sod and they played on it the next day.
Wow.
So it's really not an issue.
When's the
Good.
first game
Okay, I didn't know.
of baseball? First-
I'm not sure. I'd have to ask that question.
I would think you gotta be mid-April.
It's April 4th, I think.
Yeah, at least by the time your snow's cleared.
Yeah.
First, second
Yeah.
week of April was the supposed opening day.
Wow.
We just signed up.
So I guess, from what Rusty had said here in regards to this, we want to do a tentative approval with having a meeting to discuss those other
Yeah,
issues.
yeah.
So-
Maybe get everybody here and
So is that a motion, John?
sure, as I move that we have a tentative agreement.
Tom seconds the
Firm it
motion.
up.
Is there any other discussion on this at this point? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, it's 5-0. Okay, John, you said you had some new
Yeah,
business?
yeah, the only thing, I gotta lead up to it. A little over a year ago, we asked the planning board to do, road ordinances for subdivisions on private roads. And, I was wondering if there was any appetite by this board to ask them if they would do ordinances on private roads for businesses. So that we'd actually have a template of a direction. So like, if you put a business on a private road, you can say, all right, we've got a direction to go here. We did it with subdivisions. Hasn't been tested yet. And I mean, whatever got done over on Wadley Pond Road, as far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal. I don't, but we got a bunch of private roads in Lyman, a bunch of land off private roads. Lyman's growing. The other, we've got we're gonna have erosion issues off. We've got a lot of issues with private roads, and I think we really need to start working at some of these problems.
To go along with that, John, I asked Lori to pull up some of the road agreements that we have
Yeah.
for private roads.
Yeah.
And I think we're still searching, Lori?
Yeah, 2 more folders.
Yeah, we're still searching.
I don't think we have any.
There's very little,
We
but you're right, because we need to set a direction
yeah,
on how we're gonna deal with private roads
right,
for a lot of different issues.
right. And I was,
So I was gonna suggest maybe, if the board agrees with it, that I could talk with the chairman of the planning board
sure,
and talk to him to see if that's something they would entertain.
right. And my thought was, they've already done quite a bit of work because they've got the subdivision part of it. So they must have somewhere back, they'd say, all right, it's got to be a proportional impact and it's got to be an adjustable impact, So whatever formula or whatever they used or whatever direction, my hope is maybe they've got some of the work done or some of the thought process done, so it won't be that difficult for them. That was my thought.
Well, if the board's in agreement, I have no problem talking with Rod and discussing it.
Okay, that was a motion. How's that?
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the issue? All those in favor? Okay,
Okay.
5-0.
Was that Tom that seconded? Second, or was it?
Okay, is there any other new business? Then,
Oh, as just a point of interest, Wadley Pond Dam, one of the discussions that came out of on private roads, we're a little light on water everywhere. We're not dangerously fire department water. So, we started talking about, possible by Wadley Pond Dam on Chapel Shores Road. There's a possibility of a location for a dry hydrant there. We're talking with the landowners. Because we're coming into budget season, we haven't done any dry hydrants in a while. And I can't ask you guys to approve any money unless we got a plan at least. The other place that I know we're only a mile away going out to Clark's Woods Road, but another easy one would be right on Friars Bridge Road, right there at the bridge is another area. So it's a private road. It's like a lot of private roads. We've kind of just, okay, you guys are on your own.
If I remember right, I thought our old chief had oodles of money in that account and never spent it.
There was some, I'll get, next meeting, I'll tell you. And the other issue is, we were doing, allowing $1,500 per. So what's going on with that is, like all building supplies, plumbing supplies, they've been cranking. We're doing some estimates, a couple different scenarios on what that. So we might be looking at near $2,200-$2,500 a piece for these things. And we've got a lot of water in Lyman, but the issue is deep enough close to the road. So some of these sites, what we might end up doing is actually being underground for a while, because like over at Bunganut Park, right now from the shore to the water, God, you're 100 paces. You would have to, the only close place for that would be if you went down to right on the Alfred Lyman border where that stream is. And that thing's got some water, because I can remember them running a 200 POS pump on that, running the orchard all day. So they got some water there.
Yeah.
But it's just finding these places and guys that have been around now, but now I'm not familiar with the Wadley Pond Dam at all, but I talked to some guys over there, and that would be the gist of it, I think. Find some of these people that are around and know some of the ways to access this water.
So we could add that into, I hate to say this, but to a building permit.
Yeah.
You want to do that? You gotta add this?
Yes. Yeah, well, we not long ago, and there was a lot of discussion and a lot about it. I can't quote it, but maybe Dave knows. In certain developments, certain size developments, I believe you have to have sprinkler systems now. That's already in there and installed in the houses. And that was, the cost on that went back and forth, and we ended up, fire chief at the time ended up getting a bunch of estimates. And it was such a tiny percentage increase on, say, a $300,000 home. It wasn't even, it was, so we started working some that way, but it's, every problem got a price. So.
okay, any more new business?
No.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
John Tibbetts makes a motion, second by Tom. All those in favor? Unanimous.
Hey, thank you guys for
Thank you.
supporting me on that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
See you, Dave.
Thank you.
Look, you got a little color.
I'm embarrassed.
Is there stuff we need to sign? Laura?
Hey,
Okay,